The best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does on a Thursday, and good to have you with us. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Lots to do over the next 60 minutes. Special guest, Austin Dillon, on the show with Tino Pattigno. And it's not even a NASCAR Friday. Austin Dillon, of course, five-time NASCAR winner. There's a reason I laugh when I say that. Tino Pattigno and I had the chance to catch up with him on Wednesday afternoon. We'll have that conversation for you coming up a little later on in the show. NASCAR in Las Vegas this weekend for the playoffs at Las Vegas Speedway. Also, professional bull riders, which Austin Dillon is the general manager, and Childress Racing is actually owns one of the professional bull riders teams, the Charlotte franchise. We'll talk to him about that as well. I've actually, true story, Sam Yarnell, who joins us on the show each and every day. I actually, in 2008 or 2009, maybe 2010, it was when I was working in Hartford, I did a thing where I interviewed one of the professional bull riders, and as a gift, they gave me this thing called the dirt seats, where you actually sit in the bull riding ring. And there's only 10 of them. And I got to sit on the dirt and watch these, and it's just, you got to be a real adrenaline junkie for something like that. Yeah.
All right.
Ahead.
So on the subject of bulls, a little bit different, I will admit, but I must one up you. The summer after I graduated high school,
Okay.
A couple of my friends who also speak fluent Spanish, and we all went to Spain and lived there for a couple of months just by ourselves. It was awesome.
Tell me you did the running of the bulls.
I got to run with bulls, not in Pamplona, but they do it in different parts of the country, and I was able to partake. I can honestly tell you, there is no adrenaline. It made me scared of adrenaline rushes because I'm telling you, there is no feeling like a half-ton animal with spears on top of its head barreling down on you.
I root for the bulls.
Bulls are scary.
Yeah.
One of the scarier animals. Underrated scary animal.
I root for the bulls every time at the running of the bulls. I am the guy going, yes, gore, spear, yes, absolutely. You want to do something? Hey, look. You want to do something like that? You get whatever you have coming to you. Austin Dillon later on in the show, and I ask him if he has ever rode a bull before. You'll want to hear the answer to that. Well, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Huh? See what I did there? Mess with the bull, get the horns. Mets took game 2 of the NLCS a couple of days ago. And then last night, they got the horns. The Dodgers, for the second time in this series, shut them out, Sam Yarnell. And what is this, like the 4th time in this postseason that the Dodgers have pitched a shutout? I mean, it's remarkable what this makeshift staff continues to do in giving them opportunities to win, and they're just 2 wins from the World Series.
Yeah, it didn't last. Last night kind of felt like the nail in the coffin, kind of. And listen, you kind of felt like going into this 2-game part in New York that the Mets had to win 2 in New York to even have a shot. They needed the split in LA to have a shot. Great, they got it. Now they had to come back and win both games at home. Now you're going to make them win another game on the road to take this series, or I guess home and then get through. You'll have to take care of the Dodgers in LA at least. This was bad for the Mets. Lindor, obviously, don't even need to say anything. 2 clutch moments just right out of his hands. He had it too, and just complete letdown. The Dodgers pitching, Jason alluded to it, went back to looking like the Dodgers pitching. It kind of seemed like the end of the majestic season, bounce back season for Luis Severino. Absolutely shelled, and the final line score for him doesn't even reflect how truly bad he was in this game. I mean, Reed Garrett came in and bailed him out in the 5th inning, and then Reed Garrett gave up a homer the next inning. Like the Mets bullpen, which had looked good, didn't look good. it just kind of felt like the end of the Mets season last night. Unfortunately, it was a great Cinderella run, but they needed to win two in New York. A split's not good enough.
Just crushing Mets fans' hopes. The Mets plus 300 right now to win the NLCS. The Dodgers,
the sports books crushing Mets fans' hopes as well.
The Dodgers are minus 380 to win that. To win that series, just in case you're wondering. The Yankees, by the way, minus 800 right now to win the ALCS, with the Guardians at plus 550. So you kind of get a sense for what the odds makers are thinking. Ohtani, a home run last night in a 4-0 game in the 8th inning. Obviously not a high leverage situation there, but a home run nonetheless, and that is something that Dodgers fans are certainly happy to see. Max Muncy continues to victimize the Mets. He hit a home run last night as well. And well, we'll say I don't kill the Mets. Again, I might have said this to Patrick McEnroe yesterday. I don't remember when he was sitting in for you, but to me, the Mets have been this, to borrow, we're at that time of the year where you're watching all these old, Halloween thrillers and things like that. They're the ghoulish figure that just doesn't go away. You shoot them 5-6 times and they hop right back up and they're still alive. They're Jason in Friday the 13th. They're Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street. Until they're vanquished, until the head's been cut off, I will not rule out the Mets. You do it at your own peril. I mean, look, there's value. There's value there at plus 300 right now.
Listen, I like the song too. It's catchy. On the other side, really quick, just because we're not going to talk about this later in the show.
Yeah.
It feels like the Guardians need a miracle. The Yankees are going to. I mean, if the Yankees,
they're not even playing
here,
well. That's the crazy part, though. Their base running is crap. Situational hitting, runners in scoring position has been crap. They could have blown out both of these first two games against the Guardians, and they haven't so far.
And let me tell you, if the Guardians somehow get blessed with a miracle and the Yankees continue to not play good baseball and the Guardians somehow win this series, I bet you, Jason Page, heads do not roll in New York.
Man, the base running stuff. I mean, they are statistically the worst base running team in baseball, which is, as Patrick McEnroe said on the show yesterday, but does that statistic really mean anything when you're 2 wins from the World Series? I was like, if you run the bases like that against the Dodgers, it sure as hell will mean something. We're coming back. Contender, Pretender, Week 7 in the NFL. We got it next. Coming up in 10 minutes, more Travis Hunter conversation, because apparently he likes it that way. Made some interesting comments on a RG3 podcast. We talked about him on Wednesday's show, about the idea of how realistic it is for him to play both ways at the NFL level. And if that's not what he's going to be able to do at the NFL team, if NFL teams aren't looking at him that way, and who knows, maybe they are, why would you even do it on this level? Anyway, we'll talk about it. His comments on the RG3 podcast as well, which probably didn't come off very good for him. We'll get into that. But Sam Yarnell, it is Week 7 in the NFL, and that means a Week 7 edition of Contender, Pretender. 3 contenders, 3 pretenders as we see them as Week 7 in the NFL gets underway. Sam Yarnell, what do you got?
All right, Jason. Well, for my contenders, got to go back to the well to lead things off. The Minnesota Vikings, they're championship contenders, Jason Page. I know I said last week that they were conference championship contenders. Yeah, that's right, folks. They're Super Bowl contenders, and guess what? They didn't even play a game to make me think that. It's solely off the rest of the league. I truly believe that the Brian Flores defense, along with the Kevin O'Connell offense this year, in the atmosphere that we're seeing in the NFL, is championship pedigree. I don't think it would be in past years, and it may not be in future years, but everything has come together the right way this year for the Minnesota Vikings. I know it's week 7, but I want to call them a team of destiny already. Wow. My next contender, another well pick for me, but another step up for me again, Jason Page. It's the Washington Commanders, and this week, they're NFC Championship contenders. Listen, I know they're coming off a loss to the Baltimore Ravens. I could go on and on about the Baltimore Ravens, how they are playing the best football in the NFL right now. Is that the best thing in the world to be doing week 7? Maybe not. That doesn't matter for the purposes of this conversation. What matters is that the Commanders still looked like a formidable team with a rookie quarterback and a team that made a plethora of mental mistakes, things that can be eliminated over the course of the season. This is a team that's pacing a playoff spot right now and, quite frankly, probably going to win the NFC East. The Washington Commanders are NFC Championship contenders. My final contender, and I know this is going to please you, Jason, it's the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are right there to make the playoffs. And I'm not going to say much more than that, but I will say that they'll win the NFC South. It's not a great division. We talked about it as early as preseason, but I think the Atlanta Falcons can pull it out in the end. I am not sold on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which leads me into my first pretender, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, this team is going to go through the ringer over the course of the next few weeks. I would not be surprised if over this next 4-game span, the Buccaneers come out of it anything better than 0-4, 1-3.
Really?
It is not going to be good for the next 3 weeks in Tampa Bay. It'll be fine after that, but you are going to have to endure it for the next few weeks. For that reason, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, despite their 4-2 record, they're pretenders to win that division for me. The Arizona Cardinals are my next pretender, and I know this is weird, folks. You're going to say, Sam, how are you going to put a 2-4 team on a pretenders list? Here's why. I could justify that they should have gotten not blown out. They should have lost both of their wins. This is a team that has not found their mojo, and now potentially not having Marvin Harrison Jr. this week is a huge blow to that offense. The Arizona Cardinals are pretenders. Look for them to have the first overall pick in the draft. And I got to go to another 2-4 team. All NFC this week, contender, pretender for me, the New York Giants. The New York Giants are playoff pretenders. I know there are people out there giving them as this hot pick, and Tyrone Tracy is the new hot rookie running back. Listen, folks, Bucky Irving is the best rookie running back in the league right now, and the New York Giants just don't have it in a division that is going to eat itself at the top.
All right, Sam Yarnell's contender, pretender for week 7 in the NFL. I want to start with my contenders, and for that, I got to go to Buffalo with the Bills. And if Sam noticed this week, I sent him a text message when they traded for Amari Cooper, and I'm telling you right now, that is an enormous move. I say it all the time in sports. Give me the motivated veteran, for a half a season or one full season, especially when he knows he has a chance to win something that could cement his legacy. Amari Cooper in this spot, I think, is huge. It gives them a bona fide number one, which is going to make everybody around him better. Love this spot. Buffalo is a contender. The Detroit Lions, they go into Dallas and mollywop the Cowboys in a historic fashion. I said last week, we've been sleeping on Detroit. Nobody's going to sleep on them now. They are 4-1 in that crazy NFC North where I was just talking about with Sam off the air. The worst scoring differential is plus 41. The Packers at 4-2. The Bears are plus 47. The Lions are plus 60. The Vikings are plus 63. It's amazing what that NFC North has looked like so far. Give me the Lions as my second contender. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Why? Because Russell Wilson's going to start this week. Yes! Let's see it. Getting the first team reps. We got to find out what he is. And as long as there's a chance of Russell Wilson being something close to the Russell Wilson we all know and love, I will put the Steelers as a contender in Mike Tomlin we trust. Pretenders, Sam Yarnell. If we're going to talk pretenders, we got to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're a sham. They're a fraud. Fraud alert. I hear fraud alert. Philadelphia, just awful. Even with the win last week against the Browns. And again, no bad wins, no good losses. There's just wins and losses. but your head coach is kind of lost. Give me Philadelphia as a pretender right now. The New York Jets are pretenders, even with the Davante Adams deal. That's it. I got to say it. I got to fall on my sword here. I picked them to win the division. They're 2-4. I don't know how much Davante Adams really helps at this point when Aaron Rodgers is still missing easy throws. We have to sit here and admit it. The New York Jets are pretenders. More on them later in the show. Last but not least, Sam's going to shrivel up when I say this one. The Houston Texans are pretenders at 5-1. It pains me to say it. Go look at the point scoring differential on this team. You know, some injuries they have suffered. I like them. I think they win the division. But if we're talking about them as a Super Bowl contender, get it out of your head. Houston Texans are not Super Bowl contenders. They are pretenders. Sam Yarnell.
You're right.
All right. That's a great note to close the segment on. I'm right. I like it. Coming up in 10 minutes, NASCAR's own Austin Dillon. Had a chance to catch up with him yesterday. Our friend Tino Pattigno hanging out for the conversation as well because it's NASCAR. So we got that coming up for you. Sam Yarnell, you weren't here yesterday, but we talked about Travis Hunter and sort of his prospects and what it looks like for him at the NFL level and playing both sides of the ball and how realistic is that in the NFL. And just to recap it just ever so slightly, I don't think it is. Now, Patrick McEnroe, I have to say to his credit, made a very good point. That if you cap him at a number of plays and say, all right, we're going to use you for this many number of plays on offense, this many number of plays on defense, it can work. I just think it's unrealistic given the types of injury concerns that we have for players in the NFL today. To expect a guy to be able to play both sides of the ball and play it effectively, I think it's a difficult ask. It sounds great. I just think it's a difficult ask.
From the football perspective, like practically there is a way you can do it. It to me kind of depends on the actual skill that Travis Hunter has at the next level because, and I can't emphasize this enough, we really don't know how NFL good he's going to be playing at Colorado, unfortunately. So it is a little bit of a gamble, whoever picks him. I think that, though, it could work if he's not as skilled as we think he is. There's a chance he could be a rotating nickel corner slot receiver kind of guy who comes in on third down sets, on designated downs, and to like what you're saying, Patrick McEnroe said has a designated snap count, but there are special packages designed around him, somewhat like a wildcat quarterback. I'm trying to think why can I not think of his name? Missouri quarterback, played all around the league. As a wide receiver, and I can't think of his name. I'll come back with it next segment.
Antoine Randall?
No, it was Brad something.
I know who you're thinking. I know who you're thinking.
Yeah. He played for years in the NFL as a wide receiver.
Yes.
But he was a wide receiver who would come in as a wildcat quarterback and
Vikings?
throw the ball.
Vikings?
All around the league,
Yeah.
Vikings. It was, really all over the place. But listen, I think that there's a way this could practically work in the NFL. I don't know if it's going to automatically, right? If he comes into an NFL locker room and is automatically a top 5 corner, a top 7 receiver, he'll get the nod to just play that one way. There's not really a chance that he's going to do both. So,
yeah. Well, he made comments yesterday. So he was on the RG3 podcast yesterday, and it got into the topic of him being a Heisman candidate. I want you to take a listen for yourself, watch for yourself. This was Travis Hunter being asked by RG3 about his prospects to win the Heisman.
Right. And I want you to know that I don't want y'all to shy away from speaking that stuff into existence. I don't think that you can't win it. I definitely think you can win it.
I know I can win it, but
Robert
I don't know.
couldn't win it either.
I don't know who was there. I mean, y'all see Ashton Jeanty, but it's not like we haven't seen a running back that's good.
All right.
We haven't seen a player that plays both ways, and I'm gonna keep saying that. It's like he have 95 carries.
Yeah.
For 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
If I had 95 catches, how much yards you think I have?
Okay.
So I'm trying to tell him, like, if I had 95 targets on defense, what you think I'll have?
Right.
If I had 95 catches on offense, what you think I'll have? So I try to tell you, like, he got double the touches I got on the offensive side of the ball, and I still have defensive stats that's still crazy, and we only in week 6.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna argue about it.
I don't consider that argument.
Let other people say it. Whether it's true or not. And I think taking a dump on Ashton Jeanty is never a good look. But let other people say it. Why? And again, I'm sorry. This is Coach Prime stuff. This is the influence of Deion Sanders on that program, on those stars, on that talent, on Travis Hunter. There's no question in my mind that a lot of this comes from the influence of a Deion Sanders. All of what he said might be true, but just speaking it and saying it the way he does here is such a turnoff. It's a turnoff to NFL teams. It's going to be a turnoff to Heisman voters. And, well, you look at his odds right now, Sam. Jeanty is at 230 to win the Heisman. Dillon Gabriel at plus 260, especially after what we saw him do against Ohio State. And Travis Hunter right now, third best according to FanDuel for the Heisman at 6-1. And then Cam Ward, out of Miami, is plus 650.
So I'm very confused by this statement out of Travis Hunter. And quite frankly, until now, I was a Travis Hunter guy. Not anymore. So I would ask, just if I had the chance to, Travis Hunter, this would be my question. If you're so much of a difference maker and you're so good and you play both sides of the ball but don't get all these touches and they don't throw at you because you're so good, your team's undefeated in conference, right? Because Ashton Jeanty's is, and yours isn't, in case you didn't know. I know you missed a game with injury and you may not have been paying attention. You might not be coming back this season, quite frankly. We talked to Bill Bender about this earlier in the week. And again, wouldn't blame you because your draft stock is at an all-time high right now. Sure. Matter of fact, Travis Hunter at last check, I believe the third best odds to go number 1 overall. Maybe sixth best in there. Top 10 for sure. This is perplexing. I can't wrap my mind around these comments. Ashton Jeanty is doing things we haven't seen the likes of Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, or even Barry Sanders do. And you're going to compare yourself to him when your team lost a conference game? No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't see how any, from a PR standpoint, how anything he said on that RG3 podcast with regard to the Heisman. And again, there's no reason to go after, if you want, even if you say I'm going to tout myself, why are you going after Ashton Jeanty? It's just a no-win situation. Austin Dillon, NASCAR's own. We talk to him next. SportsWrap continues. Good to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. Happy to be joined by none other than Austin Dillon. He is a two-time winner in NASCAR, including a Daytona 500, and he is an owner of the Professional Bull Riders, the Charlotte franchise, the Cowboys, And Austin Dillon gives us some time on the show today. Tino Pattigno's hanging out with us as well. Austin, first of all, how long have you been involved? I know you're the general manager. How did this all come about? Tell me about it.
Yeah, we're the Carolina Cowboys. This is our third full season in PBR teams. We got presented with this opportunity a couple years back. Did our due diligence on the team, managed the team the first year, picked up an option to buy it, and now the league has grown. We had an expansion this past year. There's 10 teams in the league. Our team is finished second in the regular season, and we're seeded second going into the tournament this weekend, the PBR Teams Championship here in Vegas, and we're really looking forward to it. And I'm just so happen to be racing in Vegas on the same weekend.
That is insane.
I got to correct you on one stat. I'm a 5-time winner in NASCAR.
Sorry.
So we'll take away those other 3.
No. I want to make sure I have it right. 5-time winner, including a Daytona 500, including a win earlier this year as well. What was the appeal for you when you did your research? You know, have you ever gotten on one of these things before? Have you ever gotten on a bowl before? I mean, look, there's obviously an adrenaline junkie sort of rush that comes with both NASCAR and PBR, so I can get the appeal from that point. But tell me what the appeal was to you.
Well, I think it was just the opportunity to work with some great Cowboys. Those Cowboys are just salty earth people. Man, they work hard every day, and they're getting on these animals that are just athletes in their own right, these 1,800, 2,000-pound bulls that are, full muscle. And to answer your question, I would never get on a bull after getting up close and personal on training camp watching. I'll stick to my roll cage, my helmet, my 7-point harness in the car, and I feel much safer in what I do than what those boys are doing.
Oh, I could imagine. What's the season been like for this PBR team?
Man, it's been awesome. They went on an 11-0 run to start the year, which is the longest streak in PBR team's history, in our 3-year history. And we also have 2 perfect games, which is, I don't think that's been done either. So we went 5 for 5 to give you a little insight on the league. It's 5-on-5 bull riding. Each team is drawn a pin of bulls of 5, and the coaches match your 5 bulls up to your riders to the best of their ability. And then they go compete, and the team with the most score or the highest score wins the game.
It's fantastic. Talk to me about this NASCAR season, obviously, with the South Point 400 going on this weekend. Obviously, I would imagine a range of emotions. I mean, you're obviously a winner on the tour. We all know what happened with the crazy finish to the race that you won this year. Now that the dust is sort of settled from that and we're into the playoffs, obviously, give me sort of a sense for where your mindset is.
Well, it's just trying to get another win. We've had some decent runs this second half of the season. I feel like we've got an opportunity this weekend in Homestead. Homestead historically is my best track, so I'm really had that place circled and had a little momentum after our Kansas race. The end of it, we finished well. So those are all 1.5 miles. That's why I'm talking about them. And this weekend's a 1.5 mile track. So just trying to finish the year strong. Last weekend we had a little bit of upset with our left front tire coming off and having a good run. So, trying to recover from that will be what we do this weekend.
I've spent 30 years covering sports. Only this year, and I've known enough about what goes on in NASCAR, who wins, who loses, all of that. Only this year, because of the guy that's on the screen with me, Tino, who's on our show every Friday, I have fully engrossed myself in NASCAR in a way that I never have before. So I'm learning. But it has been so much fun to watch, and what a year to pick it up, because it feels like every week has had some crazy twist or turn to it. Tino, go ahead. Talk to Austin Dillon.
I appreciate that, Jason. Austin, it's great to see you here. A truck champ and Xfinity champ as well. We can't forget those with the 5-time winner. Come on. 17.6 average finish. Post the 10 races after the summer break. Before the summer break for NASCAR, those 10 races before that, it was a 24.5 for you guys in the 3 team. What is really clicking now, and what changes did you make to see the increase in performance after the summer break?
The biggest thing is getting my old crew chief back, Justin Alexander. Him and I, all my cup wins have come with Justin. We brought our old engineer back as well. We just made the switches, and it helped getting those guys back on the road with me. We vibe, I guess is the best way to say it. And things have gone a lot better the second half, and hopefully we can, finish strong and look forward to next year.
Love it. And things have gone better, not just for you in the 3 team, but Kyle Busch, your teammate as well in the 8 car. A bunch of runner-up finishes, close to making the playoffs for him and that team had they gotten a win. For you guys as teammates, how much has he helped you, and how much can you sort of help him in terms of continuing to grow the team together as teammates, and what that experience has been like for you two?
Well, KB is a competitor, obviously, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. And, being around him, it just raises your game. He's going to constantly strive to be the best out there. He's not happy with second. And, he's one of those people that just constantly are pushing for, the best that they can be. And so having him there, you always know you got to be on your game to be able to compete with him.
And one last thing for you here in terms of the championship, and this round of 8 is looking elite. A lot of great drivers that are in it. Do you have your own championship 4? Because I know you've been racing around these guys a bunch this season, and if you do, I want to hear them and who you pick to be the championship winner this season.
Wow. This is a little bit of a loaded question, so I got to go with my guys at Chevrolet for sure. Kyle Larson's been very fast every weekend. So you got to look for him in the championship 4. William Byron, another one that's just sneaky. He's going to be up there, consistent guy. I think you got to look with the races we have coming up. Vegas is a place that historically Joey Logano has been very fast at. He could be somebody that could sneak in with a win this weekend. And as much as that hurts for me to say that. But and then your 4th guy, Denny Hamlin probably. He's just been solid pretty much all year long. He's been on a little bit of a rough patch. I don't know. Martinsville's a place that he will obviously have circled, but I'd say those 4 would be probably elite championship 4 out of those 8. And obviously, I left out Blaney. He won it last year, so. It's just one of those momentum things, and when it happens, you don't know who it's going to be.
Austin.
Who's it going to be, though? Who's the winner? You got to give it to us.
Oh, man, Phoenix, last race of the year. Willie B gets it done this year.
I love it. Nice. Austin Dillon, listen, congratulations on the season so far with the win. All the best with the 2024 PBR Teams Championship this weekend. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Coming up in 10 minutes, it's Odds and Ends. The end for one staple of Jets games. Say it isn't so. Get to that. Also, your Thursday Night Football betting preview with Sammy Arnell and myself. Sammy Arnell, let's talk about the WNBA Finals and Sabrina Ionescu shooting daggers last night. That's why they had her up there going up against Steph Curry. We saw it last night. WNBA Finals Game 3, another thriller. This time the Liberty get up off the mat for one of the biggest rallies in WNBA history. Able to come from behind, and thanks to Ionescu and her big 3 late, able to beat the Minnesota Lynx. Boy, oh boy. And Breanna Stewart was huge in this game as well. And look, I mean, we've said this all along. From a talent standpoint, the New York Liberty were the better team in this series. We knew that going in. The question was, could they play 40 minutes? Because if they didn't, as I said, I thought the Lynx could pick them off. We've seen how good Courtney Williams was in this series so far. But a good win for the Liberty. They get up off the mat, get the win in Game 3, and you have to like their chances now to win the first WNBA title for that New York franchise. I wonder, by the way, completely off the beaten path, when New York teams win championships, they get the parade, Canyon of Champions, all of that stuff in New York. Will they go that big if the Liberty win the WNBA championship? Like, how big of a celebration will they do? How big will New York do a WNBA championship? I think it's going to be very telling if they do wind up closing this thing out.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm interested. Yeah, it'll be a curious story that develops. Listen, I just wanted to say, you mentioned how great Stewie's been in this series. Hope you tailed pre-series. We gave it out. Breanna Stewart to lead the series in scoring. And I mean, unless Nafisa Collier picks it up in these last 2 games, or if Sabrina goes off for like 40, we'll be good. We'll be good. That's why you trust the Prince of Picks. That shot was insane. That shot on Tuesday or on Wednesday night was pure insanity. It was like Steph Curry-esque, and it's so funny. When I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that looks like Steph Curry. Oh yeah, they're really good friends, aren't they? Oh, makes a lot of sense that she just did that. I think it's so cool that this New York Liberty team is doing it this way. You're right, Jason. It's a great series. It's a great finals. I think for the sport as a whole, especially after the numbers that you and I talked about falling off a cliff after Caitlin Clark was eliminated, this is huge for the WNBA going forward.
Yeah, and there's still, and by the way, falling off a cliff is relative. There's still bigger WNBA Finals viewing numbers than they've seen.
Right.
It's just compared to what the numbers were for Caitlin Clark games and Caitlin Clark playoff games, the numbers have obviously dropped off. By the way, Ionescu had an opportunity. We have the highlights up here. She had an opportunity the possession before and rattled one in and out. Could have just as easily gone in the possession before that when the Liberty were up by a couple of points. So we'll see if they can close that series out in Minnesota or if the Lynx can get it back to New York for a Game 5. We're always rooting for a Game 5 and the drama that comes with a winner-take-all in a championship series. Caitlin Clark doing something that's never been done before. Where have we heard that? Caitlin Clark, first team WNBA as a rookie. Getting her just due, Sam Yarnell.
Yeah, I mean, did we think that it was going to be anybody else? I think after the whole Olympic snubbing, they kind of knew that they had to go this direction. There would have been a massive outcry if she wasn't. I mean, who are you going to put there instead? Angel Reese?
You feel better? You like that? Did she make second team? I didn't look at like second team.
I didn't either, but did you see what she said on Instagram Live the other day?
No.
Something about, I don't know, she's got some apartment in Chicago, but her WNBA salary doesn't even pay her enough to pay the rent for her apartment. She has to do it off of all endorsement deals and stuff.
Oh, Lo Siento.
Yeah. Congrats.
Making friends. That's Angel Reese. By the way, she will be playing in that league that's being launched that's going to sort of fill the gap for WNBA players, this unrivaled. I think there's 6 teams, 30 players. That's kicking off in January. And of note, TNT has picked up the rights to broadcast those games. So TNT is like, hey, man, if we're out of the NBA game, which is a big possibility considering they're still in litigation with the NBA, they will have this unrivaled league starting in January of 2025. So TNT, for whatever you want to say, still trying to put basketball on their screens. We'll just see what it looks like, what this unrivaled league looks like, and will they be able to carry the momentum during NBA season starting in January with this league that's going to have a lot of star power in it, Sam?
Yeah, I was doing the math on that. Like, that's a couple of months away. Why aren't we talking about it more? I remember that coming as a story when it was like first divested into and stuff like that. But
by the way, TNT is also investing. The word is 10%. They will have a 10% stake in the league. Also, by the way, last night, congratulations, folks in Minnesota. Record-setting attendance, over 19,000 at Target Center for that Liberty Game 3 win over the Lynx. We'll see what it looks like for Game 4. Odds and ends right around the corner. More Jets news? Plus Thursday Night Football next. All right. Time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. But before we do, don't forget, check out the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, a whole bunch more. And how about this? I could officially announce this. Sam Yarnell, before we throw to odds and ends. Starting November 2nd, you will be able to watch SportsWrap with Jason Page on Fubo. Look for us on Games Plus, the Games Plus channel. We might be on a couple other channels as well, but Games Plus for sure. It'll either be 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. The weekend edition of the show will also be available on Fubo. Check your local listings for time and schedule. We are very excited. Very happy to be on with Fubo, which also puts the show in Canada. Oh, Canada. And in Spain. And I can't sing the national anthem for Spain, so I'm not even going to try. Without any further delay, Sam Yarnell, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. Say it isn't so. Is it the end of Fireman Ed? Fireman Ed is not happy, Sam Yarnell, and you don't want to make Fireman Ed unhappy. Ed Anzalone, commonly known as Fireman Ed at Jets games, went on a Tuesday night social media rant and said the Jets were cutting his screen time on the video boards at MetLife Stadium during home games, saying it's happened over the last... He noticed it against the Broncos, then he saw it again against the Bills. And he's saying, something's amiss. Something's wrong. I don't know why they're cutting my screen time. Can anybody find out? Can anybody tell me? Why am I not on camera more? Ed Anzalone, professional superfan, Sam Yarnell. He is not happy. Is it the end?
Ed Anzalone, who we should mention, hero, definitely, firefighter, was an actual firefighter injured in a line of duty. Hero for sure. As a football fan, as a fan of the New York Jets, which is kind of reminiscent of the organization as a whole, but never, regardless, he's a fraud, a complete fraud. This is a guy who goes back and forth with his team, and one day he's a super fan, and the next day Mark Sanchez runs into his right tackle's butt, and he leaves the game at halftime and doesn't come back for 3 years. So now all of a sudden, Ed Anzalone thinks he's got the right to complain about not being on the Jumbotron at what is commonly regarded as one of the worst stadiums in the National Football League circuit. This is hilarious. I think, like I said, it kind of embodies the Jets organization as a whole. Jason had them in his pretenders earlier in the show. I'll put Fireman Ed in my pretenders as an honorable mention for this week. He can go along with the Jets. Again, I say this about the Cowboys, and the Jets are turning into that. They're a Jet. They're just another team. Fireman Ed, he's a fraudulent super fan.
He's a Jeff. He's just another fan.
Well, he's a fraudulent super fan for a fraudulent contender.
It's fair enough. Thursday Night Football, Sam Yarnell. Broncos and Saints on Prime Video. So we will take a look here. Take a gander at the odds. Denver minus 2.5, minus 146 on the money line for the Broncos. The Saints plus 124, 36.5 is your total. Where are you going, Sam?
So this game, just to be clear, folks, Patrick Surtain is out for this game. It's the Saints practice squad receivers and Alvin Kamara against the Broncos defensive backups in this game. And it's kind of whoever doesn't want to score more to me. If I had to choose a side of the total, I'd look to the under, but I found a bunch of different ways to bet this game. Ultimately, I do think Alvin Kamara gets in the end zone. I would bet him for a touchdown. I parlayed his touchdown with Javonte Williams receptions. I think that the only way that the Broncos are going to be able to get anything going in this game is through the running backs, whether that's through the passing or running game. I think they'll be used in both. I think the under's a solid play as well. I like both of these quarterbacks to throw an interception at some point. I parlayed both of those together because they're pretty juicy independently, but you put them together, you get a nice little plus 190 number. Excuse me. I'm on the over 2.5 turnovers in this game. It's not going to be a pretty one. I think they're, like I said, run the air out of the ball. Kamara props, Javonte Williams props. Bet them up the board. I also, one little fun prop I did like that I took, over 2 field goals in the first half. do we really think that either of these offenses are going to come out humming? No. This game is going to suck. If you actually tune in and watch this game beginning to end, congratulations. You are addicted to NFL football.
Oh my God, I thought you were about to say something else. Especially with some good postseason baseball on tonight. There are certainly other options. I'm going to go the opposite of you, though. I'm going to go a bit contrarian here. Just because every time I see these low totals, like tonight at 36.5, I'm always like, it's a trap. Take the under. It's got to be. I think they figure out a way indoors. You're going to get enough points in this game. I think I got 2 bets for you. 36.5, take the over. And I'll give you another one that if you believe in the over in this game, you take. And it's this. Each team to score a touchdown and a field goal in each half. Plus 3,200. Let's go! Degenerate Thursday, baby! It's gonna wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
It's gonna wrap it for us. I've been so good in prime time. I'm gonna ruin that today. Thanks, Tino Pattigno. Thanks to Austin Dillon. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. We'll see you all back here on Friday.